Hi there, my name is Dennis. I'm an archer from Austria, and I thought it's the easiest way to just make a little video to show you my thoughts, or let's say my issue with the ATF-X, because it's maybe the easiest way, I don't know. So long story short, I got this riser in I think late January, early February, right when it came out, when it came to Europe. And I was pretty happy with it when I just got it out of the box. A thing I noticed at first was the made in China sticker, which I know is that former ATFs and also the limbs and all are coming from Korea, so having this manufactured in China, especially if the quality control, I assume, is a bit off for high quality riser at a high quality price point, is a little interesting. Then I noticed that some of the breakthroughs of the cutouts are a bit off. So you can see that because one side of the cutout is made from this side, then you have to flip it around and do the other side. And it looks like it isn't 100% aligned all the time. It varies a little bit. I'm running a business with CNC machine parts myself, so seeing something like this and having to do with parts like this all day long was a bit of a bummer, but I thought, okay, I can live with that. That's somehow or not okay. I mean, maybe you can see it here, for example, you have 3 or 4 steps actually where the riser doesn't align. I'm going to try and make some close-ups and pictures and post it as well. You can see what I'm talking about. That's one thing I was a little bit upset. The other thing is I tried to get this thing set up properly for the last 3 or 4 months. So the thing is, one day I'm going out to the field, I'm shooting great groups, everything's fine. The other day I'm shooting great groups, but on 70 meter the group is somewhere here, then the next set of arrows, the group is here, so it's floating a bit, and I'm allowed to say, hopefully, that I'm at least at a level where I'm somehow consistent. So my grouping is there, and I'll have a consistent grouping usually. So having this varying stuff going on within the groups was a little bit interesting, and also. The other day I'm shooting, or one day I'm shooting great groups, the other day I'm shooting or spreading arrows over the whole target 70 meters, which is also where I know that I haven't done that much wrong actually. So that's also something I was a little bit worried about. So I thought, okay, it's a bit picky to tune. I spent a lot of time with walkback tunes, plunger setups, arrow tuning and so on, and tried to just get the most forgiving setup all of this system. So it's an ATF-X and some NS limbs, 44 pounds long, I guess. And the other day I noticed that my limb alignment might a little bit off. So I knew that it was alright, it was in line when I set it up the first time. So this morning I thought, okay, I'm going to try and set up the whole thing again, have a look and maybe rearrange the limbs if necessary. As it has turned out, the limbs were off a bit, so I spent 3 to 4 hours, I think, this morning trying to align the limbs. It was super picky from time to time, and I haven't thought that much about why it is. I thought, okay, it's picky and that's it. So once they were aligned, I aligned it over these bushings and over the stabilizer, over the long rod out there, which I know for guarantee, for sure, that is straight. So I set up my center shot, my limb alignment and so on. Then I went out to the field this afternoon and set up the bow again, and my limb alignment was off. So I thought, alright, what the fuck's going on? Sorry, but I'm kind of frustrating, and I try to keep my frustration level saved for myself a bit. But then I noticed that I was unstringing the bow. Then I noticed that when I lock the limbs in place, I do have, around this bushing or around this locking mechanism, I do have a little bit of play. So don't get me wrong, the limb alignment itself, this pocket is super tight, there's no play at all. But the groove and the pin that slides into this groove has some issues, to say at least. so I hope you can hear it. Even if I do it like this, you can easily hear it, but also under tension, you are able to move this limb in the limb pocket sideways. It's about 1 to 1.5 millimeters down there, so you can imagine what that sums up down here. And that's also possible on the top limb. So the first thing I did, I thought, okay, maybe my limbs have an issue, so I grabbed from a fellow archer at the club, I grabbed his set of limbs and put it in, and they had some play as well. Then I put my limbs in again, string the bow. I'm going to show you this in a minute or two. String the bow again, and then I just push the limb this way and the top limb also this way, and I could, yeah, I have a variable center shot, I assume, so I can shift my center shot from my arrow between 0 to about 6 millimeters, a quarter inch, if you want to know. So nevertheless, it doesn't matter what I do with my setup, due to this fact that there's play in it and I can move the limbs and the limbs are moving while shooting from arrow to arrow. My whole setup does what it wants all the time, and I'm sorry, but a bow setup at this price level, it's unacceptable. I'm sorry, I'm super pissed right now and so frustrated. So I thought I'd make this video and maybe keep you aware of this point. So if you have this visor or another win&win visor, check this out if you have a hard time finding a setup. I'm going to show you the whole thing in a minute, what I did this afternoon, but sorry, that's so unacceptable having this major issue with this visor and the limbs, or just the visor. I don't know, I'm pissed, I'm sorry. So yeah, I'm going to set up the visor and show you what I experienced today. So yeah, here it is. I just set up the whole visor limb combo with my stabilizers and so on. As you should be able to see, I lined up with my biter limb alignment tools. I lined up the limbs over these bushings, over the main rod of the stabilizer, which I know that it's super straight. And also adjusted the center shot of my extends according to that alignment. So my center shot is a little bit pointing to the right. I'm a left-handed archer, so it's a little bit outside of the window, as it should be usually. Another thing I forgot to mention in the previous shot is that I'm doing full draw when I move through the clicker, so the last few millimeters to pull, I always noted a little bit of a creaking, I don't know the English phrase of it, a creaking noise. So I assume the whole thing was even also working while I was in full draw. The limbs were a bit moving, I guess, and also due to the release to the recurve archer's paradox, the whole limbs, I'm assuming, were shaking sideways all the time. So depending on the shot, depending on the release, I'm pretty sure I got different results in how the bow reacts and how the limbs were aligned and twisted and so on. So in the next step, it's a little hard to do on camera, but I'm just going to push the top limb. I will grab the top limb here and push it to the left. I'll grab the bottom limb and also will push it to the right, to the left a little bit, and try to realign it again. So I had to box it up to be able to show you the whole rod adjustment, arrow adjustment and so on. So everything is a little floating and moving around, so hopefully I did what I tried to show you. So I'm going to readjust it again, and you should be able to see that the main rod of the stabilizer bar has moved to the left. And if I'm aligning it with the main rod of the stabilizer, you probably see that my center shot now is way more off than it was before. So depending on if I'm aligning it with the stabilizer or with the bushings with the center shot, you can see that I have different results in alignment. I'm just trying to give it a little bit more of a push, but due to that, the reason that everything is built on boxes, it's a bit hard to move it, but you should be easy to see what I mean. The theory behind this issue is quite simple, but I'm going to align it again, hopefully. So now it's pretty clear that the main rod of the stabilizer is looking to the left now, and formerly it was straight or pointing at least a little bit to the right. You can just go back in video and you will see it. You can also compare the main pin, which is now, when I line it up through here, through my center shot, how I know how it should be. The main pin was way more out to the right than it is now. So if I'm aligning it with the main rod, you should be able to see my center shot is quite a bit out now. So the theory behind that is quite simple. If this is my top limb and this is my bottom limb, if I see that both limbs are not aligned, they're both facing this way, I'm going to adjust it and push them straight. At the point where I'm straight, once I'm shooting or once the slightest amount of force comes against the limbs, it just falls back to the other side, because the string, the whole tension is always looking for the shortest distance, and since there is a play, it's just jumping to the left again. So I'm aligning my limbs back straight. Once again I shoot or some force comes to the limbs, they do click, they do this. So that's the whole issue I'm having with this setup now. And yeah, I'm quite interested to hear from you guys. Give it a try, have a look. If you have experienced something similar, I've already reached out to my dealer and we'll see what's going on, but I'm frustrated because I cannot use this setup properly and I have no trust in the whole system whatsoever. So I thought I will spend some money again on some good gear, some high quality gear, and as it has turned out, the high quality gear isn't that high quality in terms of quality control, I assume. So yeah, if you're interested, I'm maybe going to open a topic on archery talk or somewhere else. I'll put a link in the description if I do so. So yeah, feel free to share your thoughts, and I hope you don't mind strong language, but I'm kind of frustrated about the whole shit. Yeah, with that being said, have a nice day, have a nice weekend. Cheers.